an advert that they've got no interest in. But as a slightly personal point, we're seeing a lot of angst at the moment in consumers about sharing personal details. It's fine for me as Vodafone to say, I notice that you've visited Facebook, through my internet connection, I'll put a link there. But are you happy with me telling Facebook, these are all the ringtones that you've bought in the last week, and this is how often you visit porn, and so on and so forth. Customers can get very antsy, and rightly so, about their personal details being shared with third parties, even if it is pseudonymously.
Yeah, what we have learned is if you want to reach customers, so you either want to reach 20 million German people or 5,000. There's nothing between. You can just look on your own site, the operators, just ask to your advertising part, give me your numbers, who do you want to reach? The first goal of them, everybody, starting with 14 till 80. That is what the answer is. If you look into the 50 top budgets of the advertising world, they want to target everybody. Coca-Cola, everybody. Vodafone, everybody. So everybody wants to reach everybody. And if you look into the number 52 or something like that, they are really focused budgets. They know how they can target their customers. They could need the help, but they will not need it. But the big budgets and the big campaigns are really, I want to get everybody. That's what we have to do.
And what's going to happen is that actually it will end up being the other way around. So actually people will say who they want to be reached by. And so we're talking about all this about how the people that we want to get to. And you mentioned the relevancy to him. Eventually it will be the relevancy to us, and we'll demand the experiences.
So that's my question to the panel, which is how arrogant of anyone to think they own the customer.
Totally.
I mean, I don't, as a customer, I don't think that my supermarket owns me, the brand of car owns me, or anything like that.
There you go.
Surely it is that, we as customers, and I'm guessing we're all customers of someone or other, own the relationship with the business rather than the other way around.
Yep.
Yes.
We actually differ slightly on this point.
So maybe you start, Anthony?
No,
I don't need something. I've said all my stuff. You go.
Okay, I think the customer is owned by someone, and that's the audience. All the others, like Facebook, you're not independent. If all the others at Facebook, you will go there. Definitely. If not, then maybe it's something scary happening. But where the audience is, you also want to be there. And that is always get the audience, get the mass market, get everybody, and then you will have everybody.
But would we call that influence rather than ownership?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I would say if Facebook shuts off the whole service tomorrow, is this not they own me?
Would your life change?
Definitely. Okay, LinkedIn and Xing. Sorry, Twitter.
To be honest, I think what would happen is that I'd feel the same as when Friendster stopped and all these other, and when my AOL Portal account expired. I think the things that seem to be essential in our lives actually really are food and water and arguably love. But I think that what we call social networks and stuff are seemingly incredibly relevant. But I think the point that Vince is making is key. There's a guy called Marc that you should look into. He's called the Herdmeister. And he writes about something called the power of the herd. And that's precisely what Vince has just said. And the herd is where people are actually attracted by experiences of others, and they are following mass. I think, however, the question, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Chair, of who owns the customer, is I think you're answering who owns the customer's experiences, or who can influence customer experiences. Whereas fundamentally, you should also look into something called VRM. VRM was an initiative set up by Doc Searles, who in past is one of the guys at Harvard. And VRM is called vendor relationship management. So you've got customer relationship management. Doc argues that, and as do I, that actually it's the other way around. So in fact, and you said how unbelievably arrogant to imagine that anyone else owns those relationships. But also, here's another question I'd ask to Marc then, so I'm going to bat it over there. Do you think that this is the question of who owns the customer is the full question, or is there also a question in that saying, what is the point of customer ownership anyway? I mean, what do you think people actually mean when they say we own our customers? Is it more to do with how they can monetize their customers, or what's the point in one company owning a customer? As someone who works in a consulting company, I'm asking a consultant.
I think one point is the ownership of the data of you. The other thing, the most important thing, is how can I engage you? And what I feel is that if people hear about advertising, like me, partly sick of it because of the old-fashioned things. If I get letters, if I get emails, and if we now try to change advertising, it will still have the name advertising. It's like running it different, but when the people see advertising, it's different. I don't care. Let's name it advertising or different things.
I think. What about useful information? That's mine.
Would be also good, yeah. Partly.
But is there a trend here? A few years ago, this question has been around: who owns the customer? A few years ago, 5 years ago, I would have said, no way you own the customer. I'm independent, I can go anywhere. But with today's social communities, social networks and so forth, I have invested time in those and I would not like to leave them. So is it really, even as chair, I would like to sort of argue that yes, these social communities are actually trying to own you.
So maybe from our side, we don't own the customer, but we listen to the customer. And that's the important thing you can do within a social network. If you want that they come back, listen to them. That's the only goal to do. Listen to the problems, listen to all the things they want to have. We don't have ideas in our companies. We just listen to all of our customers, and if we find good ideas, we do it.
That should be the quote of the entire conference, but I'm glad that Heike's got that video. That's going on my blog tomorrow morning.
Yeah, that's actually quite good, because there are, I think, examples where people haven't listened to their customers and their customers have migrated, and the ability of customers to migrate is sometimes quite surprising. So you should really listen and not try to own them. Any questions from the floor? We seem to have a unanimous panel if Marc goes and nods here. Okay, one question, please.
So, one of the interesting dynamics within the mobile internet and the mobile business model is the relative positions of the people who create devices, the mobile operators who own the networks, and the people who create the services. So in terms of owning the customer, and with all the caveats and all the question marks around what that actually means, do you see significant changes in terms of where people's affinity is moving, or where the power is going in terms of do I buy Vodafone? I never bought Vodafone. Do I buy Vodafone? Do I buy Nokia? Or is it wherever I can get Facebook most easily? Any thoughts on that?
I would say that on a macro level anyway, or more holistic level, the difference that's happening that I think we could all see is that we're working from permissive. The word ownership suggests that there's a hierarchy. It's a suggested hierarchy. So you've got someone who owns something else or someone else. So we've got permissive and submissive and dominant and subdominant type relationships. I think actually that actual construct is fundamentally changing. And so in a new version of that construct, you then have collaboration. And so to answer Con's question more exactly, I think that more so than ever, people will vote with their mouse. You know, the word of mouse is quicker than the blink of an eye. But also, as much as ever, people will follow a herd mentality as well. And the peer advocacy has always been extremely. You know,